Welcome everyone. I think everyone's here now. Welcome. We're going to do a thing now, an interview thing. And this is NAM 33.2, Friday Drinks with NAM. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us again. We've got the lovely Jean Graham from Winter Architecture with us this week. Thank you so much for joining us, Jean.
Thank you for having me.
No worries. I'm just really happy that you could do this. It's really good to have you on board because you're a bit of a NAM regular too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, first we'll have a bit of a thank you to our sponsors, our very generous sponsors who've supported us for a while. Our big institutional partner or educational partner is MADA, and they have been doing an absolutely awesome job taking care of their staff, their sessional staff, their regular staff, and also their students. It's just been awesome hearing about how all the students are well rested, feeling supported, and doing all the best work that they can do. And, you know, this is a very, very hard time for practices, but it's definitely a very, very hard time for students. So it's really great hearing how well looked after all of the Monash students are by MADA. And also I'd like to thank our wonderful partners at Hames. Hames Paints doing everything they can to support architects out there who are, you know, wanting to be able to get out but can't really. So the people at Hames, their colour specialists, are doing everything they can to try to support architects out there. So if you guys do need any colour help or paint specification help, please get on to Hames. They're an amazing small family company who are making some beautiful paints out there, and they're doing a great job. So thanks for your support, Hames and Monash. So let's have a bit of a chat with Jean. So Jean, tell me about coronavirus and how it's affected you, because you've got a very unique office in that you don't have everyone localized, like generally anyway. It's not just sort of one office, is it?
No, yeah, we're sort of throughout. I might actually start going through my presentation. It might be a bit more diagrammatic.
All right. Well, if you're going to do a bit of a prezzo, I'll just preface it by just letting everyone out there who's watching, if you have any questions for Jean or for the NAM crew, you can open up the chat window and you can put in any questions in there, and we'll get to them in due course throughout the chat with Jean. All right, so take it away, Jean.
Okay, so I might go, that's our Winter Architecture logo. This is the team, the next image. That's right. I have to drink my drink to suggest the next.
Oh, that's right. Well, what have you got tonight? What's your drink? It's it looks like a sample.
Yeah. A friend of mine's beer company sample. It's pretty cool.
Cheers! Happy Friday.
Happy Friday, everyone. You just saw a photo of our team, and then this map you may have seen before, but basically shows where we all work from. So I've got Perth, Brisbane, Sydney, we've got Bermagui shown because that's a regional spot, and Torquay and Melbourne in red. Right.
And I mean, was that because you already knew all these people and no one wanted to move to Melbourne, or was it because, was it just a different reason where you sort of thought people prefer working from home?
The people all started in Melbourne. They're all friends of mine in some way or another, and they all fell in love and moved away. So,
they fell in love with other people.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so, that's amazing. So they all fell in love with someone who couldn't stay in Melbourne,
and they moved interstate for them. Yeah.
Isn't that wow? Okay, so for anyone out there who wants to meet someone, they're sick of Melbourne and they want to move with their partner to a different state, just go and work for Winter Architecture for a little while.
Not quite. It was completely independent and just circumstantial. But what it meant was we had to, either lose these amazing people or work around it. So, we started working remotely, and it works really well in that people can, as long as it's sort of task-orientated work, so you can do what's relevant for the project that week, and we just have a lot of online communication, similar to what everyone's doing right now. We have a Google Drive system. Probably a lot of people have that, so it's all uploaded to the cloud. So the COVID situation has been hard for a lot of people, and even our staff, but I mean, it has been made easier by having these systems in place already. So, and also being flexible with time, particularly when staff have children or life commitments that they can't really work around. It just makes it easier for people to fit it in amongst their lives, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And so do you sort of manage them into their groups, or is everyone sort of specialised, or do you put people with a project and they sort of follow that project through, or does everyone take one section of each project?
Well, it depends on what people are after. So if I do tend to put people into projects, and there's a few people that are scattered across everything, and then if a project needs more people, we all come together to help it get across the line, so that the idea is no one's working on their own on something. There's a team around you, even if you're not physically next to that person, someone's assisting you. Yeah, that's the idea.
Right.
Like a bigger office, but in a smaller way.
Right. So you can sort of work on your own, but then you've also got the support network. Available
backup. If you have a deadline and you don't feel like you're going to make it, we just get all involved to make sure it happens.
Right. Yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah.
So does that mean that sort of coronavirus then has not impacted you as much because you guys were so used to working remotely?
In terms of our team and the way that we work, it's probably less, hasn't affected that as much. It's probably more the outside factors like clients' uncertainty and fear, I guess, about what's going to happen and what they should do in their buildings. So then I imagine a lot of people and a lot of architects out there are having people go on hold or feeling a bit insecure about pricing and things like that at the moment. But other than that, yeah, our capacity to do work hasn't changed necessarily. I mean, we have to reshuffle our days a little bit to coordinate with, if you're a primary carer, making sure someone's looking after the kids because they can't be in daycare, that kind of thing. So trying to accommodate for that. So it might mean instead of working full hour days, you might work, 2/3 of that day as opposed to the whole day. And we just have to work around that to just make sure everyone's happy and getting enough work to do.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So, project-wise, how's everything been going over the last, because just before we started this, you said that you've celebrated your third year of architecture?
That was mid last year. It's almost coming up to our fourth year in a few months.
That's awesome.
2 months. Yeah, I know. Pretty exciting.
Right.
So 1st of July will be 4 years. And so we've just moved into this space here, which is an interesting arrangement with Fitz Roshiatsu, client of ours. So in exchange for the next 6 months, because he can't utilise this space, we're going to be occupying this space and then working on the space in exchange for the rent for the next 6 months. So that's kind of fun and exciting, new chapter, which is why I couldn't technically afford a place like this if we had to. But we've also got a couple of really amazing projects on site at the moment. House that we're doing in collaboration with Field Office Architects, Chris Barnes. The designer Motive did an interview with us recently, and so that's on site. Provins have supplied most of the building materials, and Billy Ferguson's building the site. It's taking a little bit longer than we'd hoped, but hopefully it will be ready soon. That's pretty exciting. And then we've also got one in Clifton Hill, which is a 2-bedroom heritage house. We're going to turn into a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom family home.
Mm.
So that's almost finished. That's only a few weeks away. That's pretty exciting with pretty fun brief. Then we also have a couple of other really exciting ones. So one that I'd like to show you in our presentation, if I may.
Yeah, go for it.
Is in Bermagui, New South Wales. So it's currently under construction. And the builder went away probably just before, probably the start of May, just before March, just before COVID stuff all sort of happened. Went over to India for his annual holiday, and he got stuck over there. So he only got back into the country last week, and it was quite a journey for him to get back into the country.
I can imagine.
And I had to, basically, he rang me and he said, I've only got my mobile phone and I've got to do all this work on the project, and I'm in lockdown in a hotel. So I had to send him an emergency pack, which is pens, paper, drawings, all that sort of stuff. And he goes, oh, yeah, but you can't send it by the post. You have to call this special number and talk to them, right? So I call this special number, talk to this person, and they're like really weird, you know, like, got anything in there, like perishables, like bananas. I wasn't allowed to put bananas in there. Anyway, and then this car comes up. They text me and say they'll be there in 3 minutes. This car comes up, wheels down the window. I put the package in the front seat, and then they drive off again. And half an hour later, I get a call from the builder. Yeah, I got the package, thank you. So I'm like,
oh my God.
Really weird COVID government document handling process. But, you know, it seemed to work.
How crazy is that?
So he's still in quarantine in a hotel at the moment, so he should be out next week. So let's have a look at the site. If we go to the next image, you'll see where we are now and where the site is, and it's kind of halfway between Melbourne and Sydney along the coastline. It's a beautiful spot, fishing town, a lot of holiday goers, Bermagui's sort of just like a really down-to-earth country town, seaside town. It's really lovely. And the clients engaged Cara Rodriguez, interior design and winter architecture, and Callie Royal, landscape architecture, to do a scheme. So we worked together from the beginning, went up there with the client and a few members of our team to come up with the scheme. And yeah, we'll go to the next image if we can. I'm sorry, I forgot to do this. That's an image of the site currently. Well, in November last year. So you can see the context. It's pretty incredible. Ocean views all around. Right down the bottom is a rock pool, like an open blue pool. And that's the second level, but it sort of nestles in to the landscape a little bit. And there's a beautiful landscape all around. And the old house was a little sort of shack kind of thing, and it was all falling apart, but someone ended up buying it and then relocating it just up the road, so it was saved and it's being restored. So it's pretty sweet. So this house here is going to be able to facilitate, you know, between 12 and 20 people, depending on how many people they can get up there at the time.
So were you saying that this is not the 4-bedroom place, right? This is something else?
Yeah, this is a different project. Yeah, this is a holiday home in Bermagui that we're currently working on. Yeah. So
how come it'll have 12 to 14 people in it?
Well, there's going to be a bunk room, so you can sleep heaps of people in there, and 2-3 main bedrooms and one master retreat with a view.
Beautiful.
Cool. Yeah, so we'll go to the next photo again. So yeah, this is like on the lower level. There's an outdoor area, and this is like a little glimpse of what you can see. And when we went there, it was just on the cusp of all the whales coming back down, so you can see them all from this. It's amazing, so beautiful. And every time I go up there, I seem to have to take a sun hat, and it's like a different, like it's so sunny and bright always. Next photo. Next photo, please. Thank you. So then you can sort of see the solid frame, the concrete base bricks going in here, and the upper level hasn't quite yet been built. Huge trees that we're connecting to around the site. You can see us having our site meeting in the middle photo. So yeah.
This is so great that you've got all these photos of this, you know, as a record as well. Like,
yeah, well, we took, so Jack Mounsies, the photographer, he actually worked with Winter on this project at the time, and then decided to go out and become a photographer.
oh wow!
So he just came along and was taking some photos, and yeah, he still steps in and helps us out every now and then with some drawings and things. But yeah, it's been pretty fun having somebody who's familiar with the project photograph it as well, so they get to sort of know it pretty well.
That's great.
And he lives in Sydney, so he drove down with us for this one. And then next photo, please.
That's right. This is a drinking game for everyone, but anytime you see Jean have a sip, you have to have a sip too. So.
These are some photos that the builder's guys on site, because the builder was in India when these were taken, took to send to him, and then he sent to us. And I just couldn't believe how beautiful the timber is and the detailing. Even though these images are quite blurry, I'm pretty excited to get up there again.
Definitely. And what is that timber?
Spotted gum.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And is that just going to be left raw?
Yes, it will have a treatment to it, but it will silver off, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
So the idea is on the inside there's brickwork and everything. There's no paint inside. Timberline ceiling, timberline flooring, really light. So Kara's gone and paired everything together really well for that one.
Beautiful.
And then to complement, we work really closely, and we've gone with this sort of beautiful timber on the outside that'll weather away and sort of merge into the landscape a little bit. So landscape architect, the image that you're looking at now is sort of the in-between bit at the left, and there'll be a high upper level walk-through garden with high grasses and sort of sand dune vibes. And then where the dog is where the barbecue will be, and the sun lounges. And the decks and things are all connected by rods and screen wood all around, timber battens and things, so it's pretty amazing. Big windows as well. I don't know if you recognise that there. Big lift and slides, because there's the site cops a lot of wind, because you can basically see the ocean all the way around, so cops a lot of coast wind. So trying to protect. You want to be outside, but you want to feel protected from that. Next slide. Okay, a bit of a video. So this is me and the builder. He's a pretty great guy, Dave.
And sorry to interrupt, is the builder based here, or is
no, he's a local. So
great.
Yeah, Cara did a bit of work trying to find him. We went through a few. Like in that we interviewed a few, because it's so far away, we need to be able to trust the builder, so we nominated the one that would work. And yeah, he's really attentive, he's really good with detail, always asking a question before he does anything, so not to ruin anything. And yeah, it's a very passionate guy, so hopefully he makes it out of quarantine. It'd be good.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so it's pretty casual, very happy. Next photo.
Looks like you guys are having a nice chat there.
Yeah. That's Emily and James and I when we went to site, just chilling out in the master bedroom there. You can see the window, what was almost the makings of the window, in our black outfits.
Is that a requirement for a winter architecture?
Not at all. It's just a coincidence. Not at all, no. It's just look good for the photos, I guess. So that's the idea is, you can see out, but people can't see in. to you when you're in bed and things. Pretty straightforward there. Next photo, I think that might be it. So that's the one on site. That's a pretty big one, and I'm planning to drive up there on the 10th of May. So I've got a site visit on the 11th. And then I'm going to fly back with Rex Airlines because they're only doing flights once a week, which is pretty tough.
Yeah.
So I either have to go and stay up there for a week, or I have to drive up and drive back, and I decided to go halfway. So, yeah.
Okay.
So that's
Very
that
cool.
project. And
Yeah,
then,
nice.
this is a recently completed project with a similar team. Cara was working inside Winter for this one, and Kelly Royal was a landscape architect. She came on a little bit later, but we're glad we got her in. So I might take to the next photo. This is a renovation. There's a daggy 90s townhouse, pink and grey, one of many. Client bought it. We walked in, lots of dark timbers everywhere, heavy parquetry, nowhere to store things, strange bulkheads, and a Balinese-inspired garden that was full of bats and darkness. Like, there was no light in this house. It was really dark.
Right.
And single glazed, that whole bit. So the client came to us. Cara worked with them really well and created a beautiful pared back minimalist scheme that really tied into their needs, which was having a very contemporary space that could conceal all the life a little bit and allow them to feel like they're in a clean, neat environment. And so the TV is concealed behind these beautiful joinery units. There's a little bit of storage all along that wall, but it's all consolidated. We put in new glazing that's much more thermally efficient, and we might go into that. So these photos haven't been shown before. So
just before we move on, I mean, how wide is the site, and how wide was the extension?
It's not very wide. No, there's no extension. It's all renovation.
Oh wow! Okay, so
we just basically made it pretty. We pulled everything out. We gutted the place, and Darren Smart was the builder, and he did an amazing job.
Okay.
So delicate, and the Kelly Royal's landscape, as you can see, just really, really ties into the building really well, I think.
Yes.
So we're working with what we had in a lot of ways, but making it better.
Yeah. Because it looks like it's about like 4 meters, 5 meters wide or something like that. It's pretty,
not very
narrow.
wide at all. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, very, very narrow. So and the collective lent us all their furniture for the shoot, and then the client ended up purchasing most of it, which is really cool.
That's incredible.
Yeah, because they loved it, and they should. They do great. They have such beautiful pieces. So this is sort of a shot. You can see the daggy old fence we just painted, just rendered the external and painted it, and then the garden interweaving. Might go to the next shot. This is sort of the kitchen, and you can see the clever designs. The car has integrated the fridge, the dishwasher, the pantry, and made the kitchen really clean and neat. And you can see the sort of old bulkhead for the aircon running through, because we didn't replace it, we kept it going, but we tried to tie the joinery in, and then behind the cabinet next to it is the wine glasses and microwave and things, and then the centre island bench has this beautiful precious stone, and then it can be utilised as a dining table, so there's not enough room for a dining table in this house, so this is sort of multifunctional. And the beautiful Douglas and Beck lights really make the space.
That's beautiful. So are there, is there room for those stools on the other side of the island bench as well?
That's right. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
There is one little drawer on the end, but there can definitely fit 6 people or more around that. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Next image. So the old stair was maintained, but just treated so that it was safer. And the client wanted a space for study. So we just actually reduced the scale of the third bedroom. So it still accommodates a bed, but widened the landing so that it could become the desk. And the desk protrudes out past the new window that's fixed and overlooks a central courtyard that has a tall birch tree, silver birch tree growing in it. So I imagine the client's enjoying working from home at the moment because it'd be pretty nice to sit there and be part of the whole house, the wider house.
Right. Well, that was part of the design all along, wasn't it? It was to just in case there was ever a pandemic. It was.
Yeah. Well, I didn't even expect that, but I think that we were thinking more along the lines of we didn't want to be shut away in a room for a study or an office. We wanted to be part of the family, so that's the best spot we thought because it's close to both the son's room and their main room. Yeah. So next photo is this. I don't know if there's a next slide. These are the bathrooms. So Cara has actually worked really hard with the existing locations of everything. So all the tapware and sewer are all in the same spot. We just moved them around slightly to make them align. And so beautiful tiles and basins. So the image to the left is actually the laundry.
Okay.
The laundry acts as a powder room, so you can hide all your secret washing stuff away. And then when guests come over, it's dual function, so creating a more versatile space. And then upstairs, just retiling, but putting in skylights so that it creates lots of light, and you can see the sky when you're in the bath.
Oh wow! So where is the sky? It's at the foot of the bath, is it?
Yeah, above. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So there's lots of soft light through this house, which is really great because before they had no light. Next photo. I think there might be any more. Might be. That's it. Yeah. So there you go.
That's so cool. It's
recently completed project.
It's so great though. I mean, it was really good seeing you've got this really great project out in a regional part of Victoria, or is that in New South Wales?
New South Wales, yeah.
In New South Wales, sorry. And then you've got this really urban house, alteration and addition. How do you find working between, being in the city and also being way out in the regional areas where it's, difficult to get to site?
I think it's not too often that you have to go to site, so it's probably like every couple of months. Like we also have a site in Tasmania, and so we just don't go there as frequently. We try and do a lot of this thing, so with our consultants and staff and even clients, often we will have lots of phone meetings and over Skype conversations because it's a more cost-effective process to do it that way. Right. And then when we do have our site meetings, we just do them really big. Like we have everything that we need to do is much more organised and planned, so we're not wasteful with the site meetings. Whereas the ones that are more local, we tend to be like, oh, we'll just come back next week. But we don't tend to be much more considered. The regional ones are much more time effective. And they're also really amazing, like to travel to somewhere. The anticipation is quite good to have that to look forward to. So I enjoy regional projects. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really great. I mean, it must be like you're also going through in some way the experience that the client's going to have when they go out to those areas. Like you're actually getting this is the excitement they're going to get when they're
that's the fun bit. Exactly. Like particularly with that New South Wales one. So it's really good when I went up there with Jack and Emily and James, and we all sort of had a drink there and hang out with the builder. But it's sort of like an achievement because you've all worked on the project. And even Claire worked on the Bermagoo project from Perth mostly, and she still hasn't even been there yet. Like,
right.
and it's pretty pretty unbelievable. But yeah, I can't wait to get her over to see it. But it's pretty rewarding when you see everyone from the team come together in real life, so to speak, to talk about the thinking and the ideas, and we've all had a part in it.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's pretty fun. And it's good when we work in a team, like with other consultants as well. It just makes it richer.
Yeah, well, yeah, it just sounds like, when time is precious, everyone sort of focuses a little bit more when they get together, which makes a lot of sense. So we've got a question here for Jean. Have you needed to reduce office workload and or expenses during the COVID period? We'll start with that one.
Well, I just set up an office in Fitzroy 2 months ago, and that was a shopfront office. And sadly, I decided to stop renting that space because I would prefer to utilise the rent money that I would spend that I couldn't really use the space for on the staff to make sure that I could keep the staff going. So instead of reducing a salary or reducing in other ways, I've just cut off things that I don't believe are necessary, like the office, which is interesting, isn't it?
I think that's a really smart. You want to take care of the people rather than just a space.
Yeah, and I'm fortunate that we were offered this very generous situation at Fitzroy Shiatsu, and I'm sure in time we'll be able to get through this and hopefully be able to come out at the other end with an even better space. So, that's what I'll look forward to. But in the meantime, I'll just try and utilise the next 6 months to work the team so that we can make sure we're stronger. We're pretty good, but we need to just polish off our systems so that we can be even more efficient.
Yeah.
So ideally, we work less. That'd be great, but also earn a good wage because I don't want to. Yeah.
I think that's sort of one of those. The things that we all love to work towards is being able to work a really acceptable amount of time and still have enough income, and the types of projects where you can get paid to have a lifestyle that's conducive to good mental health and everything.
Totally.
And from the same person, just wanted to know if your staff are contractors or employees.
We have a bit of a mix. Without being personal, there are quite a few people who are employees. They range from full-time, part-time and casual. Depends on the project, their availability, their life. And then some people who work with us are actually employed in other firms and they only work with us on certain projects. Those firms might only focus on commercial projects. So this gives them an opportunity to delve into more residential domestic applications that they might not get experience in otherwise, like how to go through town planning, how to manage a site, that sort of thing. So that's more project specific and contract agreement specific. So it's a mix.
Right, cool. How do you ensure that the design is site specific or relates to the site when you're working remotely or not spending a lot of time at the site? So I'm guessing this is for your projects where you haven't been able to get to site too much, or you've only been there once and then there's been a lot of time between the visits. How do you go for those site specific projects?
Well, for example, with Bermagui, when we first went up there, we tried not to have any expectations of it and just listen to the site. Sounds really weird. But, we have watercolours and sketching and listening to the site, feeling the site during the day, understanding where it sits and who it sits around, what those buildings look like, what they're saying, and what the township's like and the spirit of the people that live there, and then just really listening to the client, what they love about it, what they don't like about it, what they want to achieve from it, and maybe not what they think they want, but what they hope to feel and who they want to bring there, and just listening. And so when we went up there, we just absorbed. And then it took us probably a month or so to generate thoughts about what each space should do, and then we tied it all together. We sort of looked at it from an inside-out perspective as opposed to an outside-in perspective, kind of like building a personality for the building, and really tying together with what what Cara had intended for the interior design, what we had all wanted for this site and how it might work, and materiality-wise, like really exploring what materials come from there and where you get them and what impacts they have, and the robustness. Do they respond to the kind of emotional responses we want in the spaces? Yeah. So
is it quite heavily documented during those early stages, and then interpreting them through design, I guess, so that you've got this repertoire of tools to continue to reference as you develop the design? Yeah,
and we're frequently going up as well to see it as well, the site in between. But most of the design was formulated after experiencing the site and listening to the client after over 2 days. And I think giving us the time to stay there a few nights, go to the local RSL, have dinner at the pub, that kind of thing, that meant we could absorb like we live there. And it's really sad, but now I really want to live there because it's so nice, and everyone that is there is just so great. Like the coffee shop guy, it's just so good. And even because they got really heavily affected by the fires as well. And when I went up there after the roads opened in January, I was saying, how you guys are coping, and there was people everywhere, and they were like, "Oh, we love it because it's a good distraction. We can keep working, and it's all local guys." And they're really good. Regional areas are, everyone sticks together and looks after each other, and it's a completely different vibe. It's good to support those suppliers as well, because you can see the food chain. It's like right in front of you.
Yeah, right. Well, that must be a real eye-opener when it's, you're directly connected to the actual people who make up those places, whereas when you get to the urban communities, it might be a little bit more fractured, even though we're all sort of living on top of each other.
Yeah.
And then it sort of seems like someone asked a question that I was hoping to ask you as well, which is you work really well, it seems, collaboratively with your own staff, but then also with other designers. What tips do you have for doing that? Because sometimes I think we hear a lot of architects speaking about trying to do as much as possible, and sometimes there's some friction between different design consultants or staff, and how do you do it? How do you manage it?
I don't know. I think it's not always perfect. I mean, it's all relationships. So I've had bad experiences. I mean, I've had some really great projects, and some people at the end just don't see eye to eye, and it's not always going to be perfect. There's a risk there, but unfortunately you won't have any reward if you don't take any risks. And there's so much more value to having a bigger team and then communicating with larger amounts of people or different kinds of thinkers, because you get a richer product, you get like a fresh momentum, a new perspective, an excitement around a project that sometimes if you're doing the same thing, you just don't get. And it's sort of just an expansion of your own group of people, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So it's sort of, is some of it about sort of finding your people, the people that so that you end up working with your mates as opposed to just someone who ticks that box of being a landscape designer or something?
No, I think, you have to have a similar, I wouldn't say style, I would say openness. If you feel that you're a great designer and you don't need anyone's input, maybe collaboration's not great. But if you feel like you could learn or you could grow and you're open to challenging the way that you work, then I think collaboration or even peer review can be really great. And again, you're taking yourself out of it. You're putting the client and the project ahead of yourself, and I think that's important.
Definitely.
Because at the end of the day, it's not your house unless you own it. It's for somebody else, and then whoever has it after them. So you hopefully should be thinking about that.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think I spoke to Stuart Harrison about that on the New Architects podcast, and he mentioned that with any collaboration that works really well, there is that respect that you were talking about there, where, you know, if you come into it and you know that that person does a really good job at that thing, whether it be landscape or interiors, and you listen to what they say and you don't encroach on what they're doing, and everyone's sort of respecting each other's space, then it can be this really, really rewarding process.
Yeah.
Well,
I think with Cara in this case, we actually worked so well together. We did all the drawings and the schedules together. So it was only
really?
set. Yeah. And then the landscape architect just used our one plan, so there was an addition to our set. So it's not like, so even the client got one whole, like they got a one-stop shop, like they would with a big firm, but we were lots of little firms. So I think that's really interesting as well. It means that if we can collaborate more with each other as small practices, we might actually be able to generate a much more sophisticated product for our clients, and then it might mean that we are, getting those better projects, fun, bigger commercial or civic or non-for-profit kind of fun ones.
Absolutely, because I guess that's one of the benefits of a big practice, is that with so many staff, everyone's contributing their golden nuggets, and then when you've got a smaller practice, there's fewer nuggets to go around. It's the perfect analogy, isn't it?
Nuggets.
Yeah, so we were all looking for those nugs, and so I think it's a really great thing when you can get that team together and you can all contribute and collaborate. But I like that you were sort of using that that projects can be more sophisticated, because I think that's one of those things, with more eyes on the project and more eyes on the drawing, people can just sort of jump in and be like, oh, and I've seen that you've done that, and we can do this, or seen that you've done that, or if we just shift it like this, we can do that. And just by having that extra set of eyes, it just takes it to that next level up.
It also means that when it's a good moment, like the windows have gone in, I can call everyone and we can all be happy about it.
Absolutely.
So
like an achievement shared is an achievement
it's good.
Shared. It's good. Achievement shared is an achievement good. No, I think that's always lovely, and that when you can do that, when you have that great moment, and that there are more people that also share in the excitement of that moment. That can just make, and like you were saying, that's also great for the client to see, because
I think so.
Well, I guess sometimes they might not appreciate how much work has gone into those moments, and to have everyone else go, "Oh, that worked well."
They might not see all the people that do all this work either, which is what we try and show. We try and get everyone to meet the client, so it's good.
No, that's really great. Do you think that you're not going to say that you'll move out to how do you pronounce the project is? Baragari?
Oh, I doubt that. No, I'm hoping to move down to Torquay on a more permanent basis, because we've got a second office there. So, and Helen works primarily from that one. But we can choose to come. So, like, the team can either work from here or from Fitzroy or from Torquay or from home. So it's like, depending on what you're working on, depending on your mindset on the day, or your what you've got going on, you can just pick and choose.
No, but that's. I was just going to think. I was just going to say, like, even if you weren't going to move there, do you think you'll stay involved in this community that you're kind of, starting
I
to
hope so.
know,
I really
so
hope
that
so. I
you can
really
keep
hope
working with
someone
that builder
wants
and.
to. Yeah, I hope there's a neighbour that's like, yes, I want one. So or something. So yeah, that'll be good.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it makes such a huge difference when you find a great builder like that.
Oh, he's amazing. Yeah, so great, so calm all the time. Yeah, but
What?
a lot of our builders are really good. Yeah, they're all really nice. They're never really gonna. They always try and do the best job because they know that the product at the end of the day is worth it. And,
Oh,
yeah.
that's really good. I think sometimes it's about just getting it done and getting out of there. So it's really great if you've got builders who appreciate the end product can be
Yeah,
stunning and good for everyone. It's really
yeah.
good. Mm.
So,
And
yeah.
just we sort of just touched on it really early on, but can you tell us a little bit more about this project where Provins was donating some of the
No,
materials and
so
things? What's going on there?
so Provins is basically the client. So our client works at Provins, and so she's managed to get most of the products supplied through them, which has been really
Wow.
amazing. So they've been able to get us products, new products, innovative products,
Wow.
testing us. Feel pretty honoured to have experienced it with them because it meant that they've opened my eyes to a lot of new products. And like, for example, Chris and I specified a beautiful timber upper story level, and the client went, this is really nice, but it's also really expensive. There's this other thing, local or whatever, and if you do this and that. And she showed us the sample, and we were like, that's amazing. We're going to use it. We're going to use it. So, I mean, it's sort of those sorts of things where having the client involved in the design process meant that she could implement her knowledge and her expertise in the built process. So, for example, one of our inspirations was going to the Heidi Gallery too, having a coffee and talking about the planning permit we were going to submit. And I walked her through and explained how the ceiling's timber lined and all these amazing things. And that was it. We were having a timber ceiling, it was. And so she found a beautiful profile that a more cost-effective option, which is all continuous instead of lots of different beams that are nailed together or whatever. So just involving the client in the process has been really rewarding as well, almost collaborating with the client.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think sometimes, the client might be a little bit worried about contributing sometimes. So it's really great if you've found a client who can bring something to the table and it's, a clear benefit,
We also had that with the Torquay compartment apartment. So lots of ideas and can sort of, the client was really involved in the process because they were living there during it with their kids. So I think, being open to being flexible with your plan is also good if you can be open-minded. I mean, as long as the core members or core elements are all in place, it should be fine. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, great. Well, it's just so good to see all the amazing work that you've been doing. And just is where you're working at the moment, is that the shiatsu place that was featured in the Uzetta video?
Yeah, so Fitzroy Shiatsu is on the level above, and that's
right.
The Christopher Boots lights and the beautiful tea and that whole. Once COVID's over, I highly recommend getting a treatment, but I'm sure they'll be off their feet. But yeah, this is level 1, which is currently just sort of much more heritage Victorian spaces. But yeah, I'm yet to brainstorm with the client about what he wants from these spaces and where it's yet to go. So with Studio May, who are also really fantastic interior designers, they did a concept plan for the facade for downstairs. Okay. So we're going to implement that scheme running through. So it ties in really well with the whole thing. But yeah.
Yeah, great. That's so good. Well, yeah, if people wanted to see a little bit more, I guess they can see the video. Is that on your website?
Yeah, on our website, yeah.
Great.
I also wanted to mention that I'm part of a small group of volunteers that organise this Surf Coast Regional Architects thing, and we're doing we've got an event on next Tuesday, on the 12th of May, which is going to have Uzetta, Never Too Small, and the Designer Motive speaking. So if you're interested, it's a free event. The sign up is just send me an email or Winter Architecture to our website, and on the website you'll see all our work as well, which is already finished. And you can also meet a lot of our collaborators on there and see the projects we've done with other people. And yeah, I don't know if there's anything else.
Oh, fantastic. So it was the Surf Coast Regional Architects?
Yeah, practice forum. Yeah.
Great. Okay. And is that going to be like a Zoom thing?
Surf Coast Regional Architects Practice Forum. Yeah.
Great. And that'll be like a Zoom thing as well, will it?
Kind of, yeah. Yeah. So
perfect.
it's just usually for the regional people, but there's probably some content in there for a few of you. So
yeah, no, it sounds fantastic. Well, you know, all three of those guys making awesome videos, and yeah, I mean, if I didn't have things to do, I'd just be watching those videos all day, all the time. Anyway, they're so beautiful.
I know, just grouping all of our beautiful architectural work all around Victoria.
Yeah. It's great. Yeah, definitely. It's so good. I'm so happy that people have actually started doing it. It's about time.
Yeah.
Awesome, Jane. Well, thank you so much for having a drink, having a chat, and for sharing some of your projects with us.
Yeah, our projects are pretty exciting. So
yeah,
thank you
so
for
good.
listening to me speak about them.
No, it's great. And it's really great to see you collaborating with so many people and just, you know, having everything in place to work remotely so well and to sort of take this in hand and, you know, take care of everyone who works for you as well. So awesome job with that too.
Oh, thank you very much.
No worries. All right, guys. Well, thank you everyone for joining us tonight. We hope you all had a lovely drink with Jean and seeing some of her projects. We'd like to thank our sponsors again, Monash, Marda and Hames Paints. Thank you so much for taking care of us. We'll be doing another Friday Drinks with Nam next Friday with Ben from Texture. So please sign up to that and we'll have a chat to him then. Jean, thanks again. I hope you have a wonderful weekend and it's not too cold and rainy. And even if it is, you have a lovely, relaxing time.
You too. Thanks, everyone.
All right. See ya.
Bye.